Hello, Lockdown Diaries, day 47. The news today is that there is a new addition to the Speed Shop fleet. I've acquired a Honda CB500X to add to the 4A2 compliant adventure bikes that people can ride back to back. So I always kind of felt that the 500X was the missing piece in the jigsaw of that A2 class. Because you've got the Himalayan, the 390 KTM, the 310 GS and the CRF. And I guess they're at the lower end of the power category or power allowance of the A2 group, which is 47 brake horsepower maximum. So all those bikes are around the 25 brake horsepower, 35 for the GS and 43 for the KTM, but that's still quite a small bike. So always thought there was a gap for that 500X, and I just messaged John at Rally Raid, who do some engineering solutions for the 500X, and he said that they got their demo for sale or coming up for sale. So I get that next week. It's a 2019 bike, 1500 miles on it. It's got the spoke tubeless rims that they make for it, and the level 2 suspension, which gives it a bit more ground clearance and travel, but essentially just improves the ride quality of the bike. But yeah, I think it'll sit quite nicely alongside the other bikes, and almost be like the top end tier of, or do you want a bike that's sort of over 200 kilos, or do you want to go for something lower? So yeah, that's going to be next week, so quite excited about that really. I'll do some road testing and videos on it when it arrives, and obviously when we can go out and do some trail riding, I'll try and get it dirty. It has got some Anlast Capra X tyres on it, which are knobbly tyres. So yeah, so that's it, new bike day. I've also set up a Patreon account, which I'm kind of in two minds about really. A few people have mentioned it just because they say, is there any way we can support what you do, which is very kind. I always feel a little bit awkward because I don't really like asking or even accepting. But yeah, I mean, I guess I have stretched myself with this project, this business. I own all the bikes, or own the debt to all the bikes at least. The unit is rented by me and financed by me, and you know, it's been a tough winter, and you know, I suppose there's people out there who've been maybe got something from my videos who maybe want to contribute, but I kind of don't want anybody to feel like they have to, and I certainly am not going to do a tiered system, whereas if you put so much in, you get more content or more videos, because that feels a little bit seedy, dirty. So I've simply set it up where if you like what I'm doing with the videos and the work at the Speed Shop, then you can basically buy me a pint every month. So it's like £3 a month, which I think, you know, I think is more than ample. You know, if you're getting something out of the videos. So yeah, so I kind of feel awkward put it out there, but if people want to stuff some dirty dollars down my knickers, then I guess I've got to take it. So, but I don't feel anybody's got to, because I'm going to still do exactly the same content whether anybody gives me anything or not. So yeah, don't really worry about that. But yeah, I was thinking about this video when I've just been cooking dinner, and I suppose it's a calculated gamble, all of this, really, as is life, isn't it? You know, we kind of reach points in life where we've got two options, and often the easiest option is to not go, or not to do, or not to step forward. I guess it's whether it's marriage or a house move or whatever it is. And I guess I was always very indecisive, and indecisiveness is probably, I think, the biggest detriment to any motorcycle adventure. The indecisiveness can strike before you've even turned a wheel and lead to you deciding not to turn a wheel. So it can kill a trip dead if you're indecisive. Equally, it can cause a lot of confusion when you're on the road, when you're trying to decide and you can't decide and you get stuck between a rock and a hard place. And so I think to have a trait of your personality, which is indecisiveness, which I always have had, it is something you have to sort of battle through and work against. And I guess taking myself back to that moment when I left from Sydney on the postie bike with 2.5 days of planning, which really is what's kick-started me 10 years or so later to this point here, it was a very easy option or opportunity, I guess, to let the indecisiveness stop me doing it. But at the same time, I was very fortunate that I was in a situation where really the most logical, simple solution was to try and ride home on a motorcycle. Any other time in my life, I think there would have been enough variables in that for me to go, you know what, I can't do it, I shouldn't do it, I can't afford it, you know, I'm going to die, I don't know enough mechanical ability or whatnot. But thankfully, for me, everything fell into place, and so it seemed a very simple decision to say, right, today is Thursday, I've got to leave the country at the end of the month, I've got 20 days to get a bike ready and ride it to Darwin, which is 4,500 kilometres. That means I've got to leave on Sunday, so I've got 2.5 days to get my stuff together, try and service the bike, try and figure out the documentation and hit the road and get going. So I was incredibly lucky, and I think that was a very fortunate moment in my life, because it gave me a taste of what it means to be decisive. And there was a moment when I became very indecisive after that first trip, which was a kind of a bit of a lull. I think, you know, the black dog that caught me in England was very determined and stayed with me for 3 years until, you know, I was decisive enough to get back on the right road and ride across America. And that brought me to a better place. But yeah, I think decisiveness in the face of adversity is possibly the most important asset you can have, or try and have, you know, or try and overcome, because it does affect us all, that sort of uncertainty, and you know, we question ourselves and we doubt our decision making or choices in life. But sometimes you just have to get on, make that decision, take a deep breath and go for it. And I think that's why when we talked about planning a few weeks ago now, for me, if you just cast that rod, you know, set that date in stone, whether it's booking a ferry or booking accommodation somewhere, that means that the indecisiveness can no longer get you. You've made that booking, you know, 2 months in advance, 6 months in advance, 2 weeks in advance, but that booking is made, and therefore you are going. So all that energy that you waste mulling over the pros and cons of a decision is suddenly evaporated, and it allows you to focus on what you needed to do. So actually in those 2.5 days I had to go from not being ready to being ready to ride across the world, actually 2.5 days was plenty of time, because I'd made the decision, it was happening, I booked myself on a ferry out of Darwin, and that's it. 2.5 days, very efficient. What do I need? What do I buy? What do I need to do to the bike? What documentation? What do I need? And 2.5 days was enough for what probably would have took me a year to plan if I hadn't have had that sort of time frame. So I guess I've started this video with buying a CB500X and the excitement that comes with that, but also grateful for the position I'm in, where I know how to get the best out of my own decision making, and they are very important skills for motorcycle travel. So we could talk at great length and discuss at great length about what tyres you need, or panniers you need, or clothing you need to wear, or bike you need to wear, but all of that counts for nothing if you can't make the decision to go. And that is the most crucial thing. So if in doubt, reach out and make a booking. And I think that's all I've got to say. So that's it. Video diary 47. A bit random, but I've got new bike excitement flowing through me. I'm getting a new 500X. I have ridden one extensively. I rode one up around Scotland. I led a tour up around Scotland on pretty much the same bike as I'm getting. And I enjoyed it. Is it as good as the Himalayan? Well, it's certainly more speedy. It's probably more reliable, more perfected than the Himalayan. Has it got the character? No. And I think that's where you weigh up. Do you want the character of the Himalayan and the pros and cons that come with that? Or do you want the refined, slightly soulless perfection of the 500X? And I think, for me, that's a real battle amongst those 5 bikes now. You know, the Himalayan versus the 500X. You've ruled out the Honda, the CRF 250, you don't want a trail bike. The GS 310, you've maybe ruled that out. The 390, maybe ruled that out because it's too small. And that leaves you the Himalayan and the 500X. Itchy boots, I'm not sure what she prefers, but let's find out. Over and out. Cheers, bye.